Hey, what's going on guys? It's your boy, Nerd Mode On, and today I'm actually going to be showcasing a little bit of Heroes and Generals, which is actually a pretty fun World War II game when it comes down to it. Now of course, in this particular case, I'm going to be a part of the tank crew using the M5A1 Stuart, which is definitely a pretty good vehicle. By no means is it the best vehicle in the entire game. It's actually a pretty basic vehicle when it comes down to the functionality. However, I'm going to do my best to try to stick within the trees and try to stay a little bit out of the combat when it comes down to what the infantry can fire at me, which is essentially rocket launchers, which definitely do a lot of damage when it comes down to injuring my armor and overall my health of my vehicle. I've quickly noticed that one of the most successful ways to play this particular game is to try to stay within the shadows. Of course, there's a lot of great things that the game has to offer in terms of infantry combat, tank versus tank, and a lot of other great things that are associated with this particular era. However, I've quickly noticed that if you're going to be a very successful tank driver and or operator, you definitely need to stick within the shadows and trying to really camouflage yourself with the surroundings around you. Now, of course, being an operator of a tank, I'm definitely going to try to stay within the confines of my teammates. I definitely don't want to venture too far off away from them, considering that I'm just going to get ganged up on when it comes down to launchers as well as the enemy vehicles themselves. So of course, sticking around other operators of tanks is definitely going to be very highly recommended when it comes down to it, considering that 2 is always better than 1, and 2 people shooting at one target usually diminishes their health a lot faster than 1 person versus 1 person. Now of course, alongside that, it's kind of your obligation to destroy enemy vehicles when it comes down to their transportation vehicles as well as their heavy armored vehicles, but it's also your responsibility to allow your infantry to push on to those capture points and also protect them while doing the same thing for the vehicles. Throughout these few matches, I definitely was doing my best to try to stay within the shadows, but stay kind of close to the objectives, considering that I didn't want to venture too far off by myself. I mean, of course, I'm definitely not the best player by any stretch of the imagination when it comes down to this particular game. However, I also didn't want to be too far away from the action, considering that it kind of gets boring in those particular cases, so definitely trying to find a medium between the long distance and close distance of the engagements that you'll commonly find. Kind of depends on what kind of area you spawn at, as well as kind of where you venture off to with the rest of your team. Now, it's definitely a little bit different. Heroes and Generals is definitely a very different title in comparison to other games such as like Battlefield or anything else that uses heavy armored vehicles. You will quickly find that the learning curve of this particular game is a lot larger than a game of Battlefield, considering that you always have to commonly be looking around you and be aware of your surroundings. In Battlefield, you can kind of just venture off and do your own thing, and for the most part, you can actually be pretty successful doing those types of actions. However, in this, it's a lot more team-orientated. The games may not last as long as a Battlefield game, but you're going to quickly notice that if you decide to go off and venture by yourself, you are going to be heavily penalized, considering that the opposition does have the ability to destroy you. I mean, a lot of infantry players will consistently carry around launchers to shoot at you and kind of diminish your health as you kind of move around. As well as if you happen to go up against somebody that's using a better tank, then of course you're going to be at a significant disadvantage, considering that they do have better weapons in comparison to yourself. Now, I would definitely say for the first couple of hours, I really struggled with that mentality. It wasn't something that was very accustomed to me, considering in the Battlefield franchise, I just kind of go off and do my own thing, and for the most part, I'm actually pretty successful at doing those types of actions. However, in this game, if you're not really die your teammates, you're really going to feel the difference between winning and losing, and it's not fun sitting at the spawning screen waiting for everything to kind of get picked up and re-enter the battle. And for the most part, I would definitely say that's a very unique thing of this particular type of game, considering that Heroes and Generals really focuses on the teamwork. Granted, the games don't last as long, which is definitely one of my hugest criticisms of it, considering that I really like to feel a part of the battle when it ultimately comes down to it. But of course, a lot of these games are kind of like skirmishes. You kind of fight them, and then for the most part, you kind of either come out victorious or you end up losing the game, which is definitely frustrating. But of course, there are ways to kind of improve your skill, as well as jump into multiple different matches. So Heroes and Generals was definitely a very fun experience. I've been playing it off and on for the last couple of months, and I've definitely been having a lot of fun, and I'm really glad I decided to join a part of the tank crew. From my experiences while being an infantry player, it always seemed like a lot of players were really requesting a lot more tank drivers, and I'm really glad I made that choice, considering that I've been having a lot more fun as a due result, and overall it seems like my statistics have definitely been increasing along the way. But anyway guys, I really just wanted to showcase a different type of video. I thought Heroes and Generals would be kind of a different video for you guys, considering that I primarily focus on the Battlefield franchise, and overall I just had a really good time trying something out different, and of course it's definitely interesting to see what different titles are doing in different areas. But anyway guys, this has been NMO, and I'm going to be signing out guys. Peace.